Welcome to this edition of School Matters. We're going to recap last school year and talk about some exciting things that are on the horizon for next school year. So with us today is Mrs. Baker, our superintendent. Welcome.
Thanks. It's fun to be here.
Very good. We have a lot to cover, but first we want to go ahead and do a nice shout out to you. We started the school year on a high note, but during the school year you received 2 awards that I think are worth mentioning. One was the Ohio School Boards Association Southwest Ohio Region Outstanding Superintendent of the Year, and that had to make you feel good with your long tenure.
Now that's a mouthful, Joni,
Right.
and you got that out. It does, but really I received that on behalf of all the superintendents who do great work every day in school districts across Ohio.
I know another award that you received that you're very proud of is the Heroes of Character from the Greater Cincinnati Character Council.
Right. That was a great award for me personally. Both of my sons and husband were able to attend this celebration, and there were just a lot of people there, and I think it speaks to the fact that people believe character is so important. And you know, I thought about the fact that we'd had that in place for over 10 years, and I believe we're really seeing the benefits of that in our students.
And you said we were well represented. There was about 240 in the audience, and Hamilton was well represented because we also had 3 students.
We did, and
nice.
That made me especially proud.
Right, you had to be a proud mother. Yeah, that's
it
nice.
Was. Right.
Very good, yeah. Megan Needham from Hamilton High School, Logan Pickett from Bridgeport, and then Jessica Ridgway. So they were there, so Hamilton was well represented.
We were, definitely.
And while we're doing shout outs, I guess, Cheryl Burke got a nice award this year as well.
She did. Cheryl's our middle school principal at Wilson Middle School. Outstanding administrator. Year in and year out, she gets excited about what she wants to do, new and different, and it's all kind of focused on student achievement. So she's a great leader and inspires and motivates her staff.
Yeah, well deserved again.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit. We began the school year with a new mission statement.
We did. We wanted it to be, we'd had the same mission statement for 20 years. We would revisit it and go, this still works. But we wanted something much more current, short, simple, and really we're all about preparing kids for the future. And so our mission statement talks about preparing them for college, career, and life.
Yeah, so that was perfect. Short, sweet, to the point.
Right.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about our facilities, because that was through the Ohio School Facility Commission, a 5-year maintenance plan. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Right. You know, that was a great idea that the OSFC had. It's one thing to build buildings, it's another to be able to maintain them. And so they wanted districts to do that and required that we had a set aside, and our board was very committed to that and have set aside dollars. And it's hard to believe when you think about the fact that we just finished up these buildings that we're already in the process of continuing to invest in them to keep them in great shape.
I know one of the projects during the school year was the upgrading of the heating and air conditioning at the freshman building, which is 10 years old now, which is again hard to believe.
It is, but boy, this winter were we happy that we had good heat.
Right.
I had an unbelievably cold winter, and now we're starting summer school. Our secondary summer school is already in, and someone said the other day, oh, you have elementary summer school? And I said, yeah, and they said, hopefully your buildings are air conditioned. So it's great. We can extend the school year, we can start early with our calendar, and our facilities support that.
And the best thing I think about the maintenance plan, it's already, as you mentioned before, it's already funded. So money has been set aside for that. People may be driving down and see us maybe resealing or repainting the parking lots or some roof repairs at the high school. Those are more visible than maybe some of the others. But again, all the money is set aside for that.
It is.
So that's good.
So you don't have to worry. You know that not only do we have these beautiful new buildings, but they're going to stay in great shape for a long time because of the set aside.
Right. And I think that's a commitment for our community. Well, they were very generous in passing the bond issues, and I think that's only fair that we maintain the buildings.
Absolutely, and I think they value that our Board of Education has made that a priority.
Let's talk about our communications plan, because we started that again last summer, and you started sort of with 2 groups, a key communicator group and then also some parent chats.
We did. You know, Joni, I think if there's one thing that's is important for a school district, it's communication. And no matter how much we communicate in how many different ways, there are always people who will say, I didn't know that you were doing that. So we continue to try to use social media. As you know, we have a great I think website, very informational. You know, we tweet, we try to get the information out, we do these TV Hamilton segments. But two new things this year that were a part of that plan were to develop a key communicators group. And that's a group kind of unlike other advisory groups that we have in the school district, made up of a variety of people. We've got retired people, we've got parents, we've got non-parents, and they meet with us on a regular basis. And the whole point of that committee is for us to share and educate them so they in turn can go out then in their own circles, their own neighborhoods, and kind of share the news, because we know that only about 1 in every 3 families has school-age children. So the way that they would know about what was going on in the schools is from friends, neighbors, that kind of thing. And we've got a great group of people who've done some really good work this year.
And talk about the parent chats, because I know that was one of your goals for this school year, was to go to each of the 12 buildings and talk to parents about, of course you had an agenda, wanted to talk to them about the changes, but then you mentioned two-way communication. It was an opportunity for them to ask you questions or try to clarify some things. So let's talk about the parent chats.
We love to communicate out, but more importantly, I love to hear what's on people's minds. And the best way to do that is go out around a table like this, real informal, making it real comfortable. And we partnered with the start of school, hoping that as parents dropped off their children, they would stay for the coffee chat. And sometimes we'd have coffee and snacks. And what I did to kind of start those chats was to talk a little bit and help educate them about all the changes that are coming down from the state, because those impact their students, and they impact teachers and principals and so forth. So I think they were glad to have that information. And then we kind of did an open format, as you know, at the end, and that worked really well, because things that people were concerned about, they brought up, maybe things that they needed more information about, suggestions that they had. And one of the things that we did that I really appreciated on your part, you did a lot of follow-up with people, and we tried to respond to every suggestion and concern that we received.
And again, you mentioned that Leadership Hamilton, we do that through the Chamber of Commerce. Every year they do an education day and come and go into our schools, and at the end of the day they do a wrap-up discussion. And you enjoy hearing the feedback from them as well.
I do. I usually welcome them, tell them a little bit about what they're going to see during the day. And they see parochial education as well. We usually have them visit an elementary school, maybe a middle school, secondary school. But when they come back is the time that they really share their observations. And we get a lot of really positive strokes, things that they maybe thought were different. They comment a lot on the behavior of our students, on our character ed program, on sort of the rigor of the academic program, on our technology. But also what we're really seeking is any ideas that they might have for future tours, or things that maybe if they're in another school district they have in their home school district that they would want to offer to us.
Yeah, so it's great to get their comments too. So again, they tell us what they observe, but yet they give us suggestions, and then we're able to take that forward. And because if you stay status quo, you're falling behind, as they say. You got to keep moving forward.
Absolutely, so particularly in this time of unprecedented change.
Well, and talking about unprecedented change, let's talk about the District Safety Committee. We've had that for a while, but unfortunately, it's had to step it up in the last couple of years.
We have. I think, with the tragedies in the schools, it was a wake-up call for everyone. And so even though we were really fortunate with having new buildings and having our entrances and exits secure and a lot of cameras in our school, that kind of thing, the latest in technology, what we really needed to do is think about how people would move in a crisis and train our people. And so we set up a district safety committee, and we worked in conjunction with the police department, and we upgraded. We have a new crisis manual and new safety procedures, and I feel very confident that our school district is on top of safety. That's not to say that there couldn't be an incident, but definitely we believe that it's a priority for our families as well as our educators.
And we like to be proactive versus reactive, and I know again, working with the Hamilton Police Department, they have used our buildings on several occasions for their own training, so they get an understanding of how buildings are laid out, and then our own personnel are there too, so they work in conjunction in case there is an emergency.
Absolutely. I think they have a training plan for this summer, and part of what I love about the new buildings is hearing how many community groups are using those, like the police for that demonstration, Today I was at Rotary and they were advertising the Harlem Globetrotters are coming and they're sponsoring that. And they said something like, what better place to have it than the Hamilton High gym?
That's great. And all this, you know, we talk about everything else. Let's get down to really what we're here about, academics. And I'm always impressed by how you can stay current, as obviously as much as we can, as all the changes from the state. But most superintendents, you know, they rely on other departments or what have you. But you have really stayed current with what's coming down the pike from the state.
I've tried. Lots of changes, and I have great people in leadership positions. But I think to lead the district forward and to really understand where we need to take our students into the future, that I have to be abreast of those changes from the state and understand them. And we were just talking a little bit earlier about how totally education is changing. I think the advent of technology, and the more technology we get, the more I see how it integrates, and strategies are different and students are different.
Very much so. And your ability, I think, to mentor our principals through the new principal evaluation has strengthened them, you know, as you go through the evaluation process, the 5 categories. It benefits them, and then also you get a good understanding of where they need to maybe areas of improvement.
I do, and that's one of my favorite things to do, is really to help each person be the best that they can be, because leadership starts at the top. And so if we've got great building principals, they inspire, they motivate teachers, and they ensure that there are high levels of education going on in their building. And so the new principal evaluation standards is built on the best of the best. What are the standards that the most exemplary principals exhibit? And we have trained all of our administrators in those qualities, and it's an evidence-based model. It's a little bit different. Instead of coming to the evaluation and just saying, I do this, they actually bring pieces of evidence. It kind of mirrors the teacher evaluation process. And then there's an overall rating. And I'm proud to say that through these past couple of years, our principals have really grown. For example, they might take an area like parental involvement, and they might say, this is a standard that I really want to work on. And then they'll create strategies, and they'll bring back new evidence. So it's been a great process, I think, for really helping them grow professionally. And you know, there was a time where when you graduated and got your graduate degree or your administrative certificate, you felt like you were pretty set. No longer is that the case. They're lifelong learners and continually learning.
Well, and with all the changes coming down from the state, the district has implemented several improvement strategies to increase the state report card rating.
We have new levels of accountability for sure. Everyone's struggling with that and trying to figure out what that means for their particular school district, and our instructional department came up with very concrete, specific improvement strategies. And the great thing about those is they were throughout the district. So regardless of the school elementary school that a child was in, or middle school, they were the beneficiaries of these improvement strategies. One of them, for example, were review sheets, and we knew that students would learn something at the beginning of the year and then they'd be tested later in the year and they would have forgotten it. So those go home weekly, and that was also an outreach to the community and the parents kind of seeing what students are learning and maybe being a part of that. And then one thing that I especially love, because I'm a lover of vocabulary, was that there is very technical vocabulary on those new tests. And so how do we teach those students that vocabulary so as they're taking the test, they have a leg up in being able to understand the questions and what's being asked.
And another strategy we had is we hired about 38 teachers from, say, February to May, right before testing, to work with individual or small groups of students that may need that extra support.
We did, and that was amazing. They touched over 2,000 individual students, and their goal was to kind of work in conjunction with the teacher, but pull individual students or small groups of students who needed a little bit of extra time on a skill and really hone in and individualize that skill. And we feel very confident that that was beneficial for those students as they prepared for the test, but more importantly, just in terms of bringing them up to a competent confidence level.
And I know next year is when it starts all the online testing, but this year we field tested on 4 schools on how the technology would work. So let's talk a little bit about that.
We did. I'm a big believer in pilots, and we have a large district. So if you're going to implement a new strategy, you know, it's good to be able to kind of work the kinks out. And certainly this online testing that the state is recommending beginning next year has everyone like oh, do we have the technology? Do we have the infrastructure to support it? There again, you know, thanks to our community, we have new schools, and thanks to the vision of our new technology director, we've upgraded our infrastructure. So one thing we wanted to see, you know, how would the test be supported, and would the technology work? And indeed it did. We had a few problems, but we actually put people in each of the buildings where we tested. We tested at the high school, we tested at the middle school, and a couple of elementary schools, and actually put the students through the testing. One of the things that they did comment on is, oh my gosh, these are so much harder. But what we learned from that, we're going to take forward into next year, and we really feel like it was a great pilot because it will give our students more confidence as they enter into that world of online testing.
Well, and I think, again, I think it's kudos to our district because we're doing these kind of pilots where other school districts haven't thought about that. So next year, you know, they may be behind the 8 ball.
Right. It's our goal to give our students every advantage we possibly can.
And you talk about technology because our technology director and other technology support were out there at the schools in case there were situations or bugs to work out. But we also have a 5-year asset refresh plan. So talk about that.
We do. One of the things that I'm very proud of with our district is we do a good job planning. And in a large school district like that, there's so much to plan for. You know, somebody says, oh, you're off for the summer at Rotary today. And I said, well, we're in the midst of planning for next year. We've got secondary summer school, elementary summer school coming on board. We're hosting, I know, the Chamber's Job Expo. So a lot of activities, as well as getting our buildings ready. We're hiring new staff, just a lot to do during the summer months.
And then we implemented or deployed 3,000 new devices last year. And we also did mid-year, we did a bring your own device initiative at grades 9 through 12. So talk a little bit about that.
We did. I mean, if you look at technology alone and say we ordered and deployed 3,000 new technological devices, you go, wow, that's a lot. And it was. We did a survey of our students because we knew that most surrounding school districts were going to bring your own device. It's a technological world, and these are our native students who are native with technology. It's, you know, as common to them as breathing. Right. And so we wanted there not to be the disconnect between the school environment and the environment outside of school. And our students, our teachers have really embraced that, and our students are motivated by a lot of the teachers using technology. We leave that up to them. It's simply with their comfort level, and as they learn more and more how to do it, I think they're more excited about teaching with it, and I think our students are excited about learning in that way.
And we talk about the investment in technology, but we still continue to invest in textbooks and books.
We do. I think by and large, you know, I would describe our district as very traditional in terms of, you know, our discipline and wanting an orderly climate in terms of us teaching basic skills, but we're also very progressive in terms of, you know, trying some new innovative ways of teaching and learning and integrating the technology. We
spent about $180,000 on new textbooks for grades 8 through 10, and then also like advanced placement literature or biology. So I mean, we continue, we talk, right. You know, will come a time where we won't have textbooks, but right now we feel pretty confident we're going to use them.
We do, and so we have to make an investment where those textbooks are outdated in keeping those up to date. And again, we have a textbook replacement cycle. We have a technology replacement cycle. We have a bus replacement cycle. We're investing on an ongoing basis in our facilities. So really comprehensive planning around keeping the district strong and being able to sustain that into the future.
And you talk about how you like pilots. We piloted an alternative special education model at one of our elementary schools. So let's talk about that.
We did. We have a commitment to meet the needs of our special needs students in a variety of you know, disability areas, and so each of them has an individual education plan that outlines skills that they need to strengthen. And in the past, we've been bound a little bit by those grade levels. And so this is more skill-based. So it might group together students from 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade who all need help in a particular skill. Great response from the staff, and kudos to Fairwood Elementary for piloting that. We're going to expand the pilot this year to 3 additional elementaries, and then if it works as well as we believe that it will, probably that will be expanded into the future.
And we know, we always say schools can't do it alone. So we need to address what we call the non-academic barriers. So we've been working closely with expanding health services and social agencies.
We have our Director of Student Services is fairly new in his position, and when he interviewed, he said, I think I can help in the area of behavior. So not only does he conduct all of our suspension and expulsion hearings, those kind of things, but more importantly, he's really reached out in the community and formed additional partnerships with community groups, St. Al's, Butler Behavioral Health, other social service agencies. And next year, one of the things that we're investing in is each elementary school will have what's called a homeschool liaison. And the point in that is that a lot of times the communication isn't as strong as we would like it to be between the home and the school. And so this person serves as a liaison between both, and then also an outreach to the community in terms of additional support.
That's great. And then I know one thing that we did this year that I know got great reviews is having a designated nurse in each of our school buildings. So now we have 12 nurses, no more traveling nurses.
Right, and that's great because we lost a lot of travel time. You know, there would be, or there might be an emergency and a nurse wouldn't be there, they'd be in another building and then they'd have to come over. So definitely we have, lots of students with health issues. And then you have the everyday things that you get when you're in a building, accidents after playground,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Recess,
Yeah.
right? Well, that's great. Yeah, I think from what I heard in the buildings, that was a very nice asset that we were able to do for them because, as you said, it typically, if there's a situation, the nurse is at the other building. So this way and then they get to know the students a little bit better too because they are there every day,
Sure.
all day.
And nurses are real resources to families in terms of reaching out in the community and meeting the health needs of their children.
And you mentioned too, what do we do in the summer? Well, nothing, but we're doing the summer school. As you said, we have elementary summer school in 2 buildings this year, and I think we're close to about 650 elementary school students going to summer
Signed up,
school.
sure.
And then now that starts in a couple weeks. Now we're starting with the high school, where we say grades 7 through 12, and there'll be about 200 there for summer school.
Right, that's held at Hamilton High School in a job development center. And you think that students, they'll say, oh, we can't wait for school to be out, but it's really a great resource that we have. Not all school districts offer summer school, but we believe it's a real service to our students and families.
And then each building has a summer maintenance plan. I need this room painted, I need this touched up. So our maintenance department's pretty busy this time.
Very busy
here.
all summer.
And of course, you mentioned about hiring. This is the time where we're hiring all new teachers or what have you. And so our HR department's pretty busy this time of year.
They are, and that's going to be under new leadership.
Right.
Mrs. Lice is retiring and has done a great job for us. And Dr. Chad Conkle, who was our business manager, kind of slid into that position. Very excited about that. And he brings a wealth of experience as a building principal to that position. So he's excited about that new challenge, and we've been able to just recently hire a new business manager that we think is John Thomas. Welcome him to our community and our school district, and just think his experiences, just a breadth of experiences, are going to serve him well in that position.
Yeah, we'll benefit from his knowledge. I know this summer too, we're trying to work negotiations with all employee groups. It's that time of year to start that.
It is. Those are one of those things that you like to get started, you like to get them finished. Hopefully it's great to have them finished before school starts,
Right.
because then everyone can really focus on that and not be worried about the negotiations. So we've already started that, had a couple of meetings, and hopefully we'll wrap that up before too awfully long.
And then with the new, again, another change from the state versus calendar days in the year, now they're counting calendar hours. So with that being said, Hamilton High School is going to offer some new elective courses.
They are. We had some late arrivals last year and some early dismissals, and we had to discontinue that practice because it wouldn't meet those new requirements that you're talking about. So we began to say, we need additional courses. And then as we began to look at our courses, we realized that, we wanted more current, relevant courses that students would really be excited about. So we have some art offerings, I think a metal class, and some contemporary literature kinds of things.
Forensic
and,
science.
Forensic science.
That's a big on TV now.
CSI at
That's
Hamilton
right.
High.
That's right. So that'll be nice because we don't want the students sitting in study halls.
Right.
So we want them there. And again, if it's good elective courses that they're interested in, they'll be able to fill those because they are going to reduce the early release or the late
Sure.
arrivals. Another thing, a new change then, is training our kindergarten teachers. There's a new kindergarten readiness assessment starting next year. So this past spring, a couple months ago, we've trained all of our kindergarten teachers so they are certified with that new assessment.
We did. That's there's a big push at the state level for early childhood education because we know, they're trying to impact the job market and the graduation rate, and we know that that doesn't start up at the high school. It starts down in preschool, and we were fortunate to have had all-day kindergarten for over a decade now and several preschool classes. But I'm very excited about a new partnership that we have for next school year in the area of preschool. It's going to be a typical preschool, and we're going to house it at Booker T. Washington. So I think that'll be great for those that neighborhood and the students who funnel in then to Riverview. It's a partnership between the Y, of course, Booker T. Washington, the Hamilton City School District, and the Community Foundation. And the Community Foundation, one of their goals of their education committee is early childhood education. So we think this is going to be innovative. We're excited about doing it, and hopefully there are people out there listening who want to send their child to preschool.
That's great, yeah, because you said that you got to start them early. Another thing too, Title I funds, so those are federal funds, and we were able to use some of those funds for next year to add 6 additional teachers at the elementary level.
We are. Title I is focused on helping those students who need additional time to learn. And so with our Title I budget, in the biennial budget, we fared a little bit better this year, well, a lot better actually than we have in past years. So we've taken those funds and tried to apply them directly to things that are going to improve education for students. And these reading supports, the literacy supports early on with the Title I program will certainly do that.
And then you mentioned too, you used to get your degree and that's it, but we'll continue again next year with professional development as the changes and the park assessments come around.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, we have a very strong commitment to professional development. We have our early release days. And this year we've done some, I think they call them learning pathways, and they're on technology. And our tech staff tells me it's any place, anytime learning. So they can work together in a faculty meeting with others, or they can work from their home computer. Let's just say they want to learn a little bit more about differentiation, in a class with a lot of abilities. They can go back through those modules then that they've had the professional development with and get a little bit of extra information. So we'll continue that with next year and continue to grow and build our teachers.
Well, it sounds like, we've accomplished a lot this past school year.
have.
Again, our to-do list is plentiful for next school year, but that's a good thing.
It is.
And just a reminder that school starts, I hate to bring it up, school starts Wednesday, August 13th.
Can you believe that?
That's right.
We used to think a lot of times that it didn't start until after Labor Day. And so particularly with the spring testing, a lot of school districts have adjusted their calendars, and we couldn't do that for a while. We were a little bit at disadvantage as we did the construction, but now that that's over, we're starting sort of mid-August. So we wanted to get that date out there so families could begin to plan. And you talk to students now and they're eager to be out, and they're in the pools and they're, playing baseball and going on family vacations and all like that. But probably by mid-August, they'll be ready to come back.
So yeah, 1st of August is when school starts. So
Right.
it's Wednesday, August 13th, so mark your calendars. And have a good summer, and we'll be kept busy, as we just mentioned, because even though school year is only 9 months, it truly is a 12-month job.
It is. It is. Well, thanks to TV Hamilton for helping us get the word out. Again, that's part of our communication plan. And thanks for you for your job in telling the community all the good things that are happening in our school district.
Well, it's my pleasure. And for TV Hamilton, I'm Joni Kopis, and we'll see you next time.